Darren Holt stepped out of the human shuttle with a calm face, but inside he felt a mix of worry and excitement. He had visited many planets before, but never the homeworld of the Valorian Empire. The air shimmered like soft silver mist, and the tall crystal towers reflected the twin suns. Everything felt larger, brighter, and heavier than anything he knew on Earth. He reminded himself that he was only here as an engineer and representative, not as a soldier or a spy. His job was to help build a communication bridge between humans and Valorians. He expected a friendly meeting, some technical talks, and then a quiet trip back home. He did not expect the Queen to meet him herself. When the large doors opened, the sound of soft bells filled the room. Queen Saralith walked forward, surrounded by advisors and royal guards in shining armor. Her skin glowed like smooth crystal, touched by sunlight, and her eyes were a warm amber color. She was tall, almost twice his height, and her steps were graceful, calm, and full of confidence. The room fell silent when she looked at the human visitor. Darren tried to stand straight, even though he suddenly felt very ordinary next to her. He was just a simple human, not a hero or a leader. He wore a standard dark blue uniform with a few tools attached to his belt. Compared to the shining robes of the Valorians, he looked plain. Saralith stopped in front of him. Her voice was soft but carried great authority when she said, "Welcome, human Darren Holt. Your visit is important to us." Darren bowed slightly and answered, "Thank you, Your Majesty. I am honored to be here." Some of the advisors behind her whispered quietly. Their expressions were unreadable, but Darren sensed they were unsure about him. Humans were new to the Valorian court, and many here believed humans were too unpredictable or too emotional. Darren already felt like he had to be extra careful with every word. As they moved to the grand hall for the welcome ceremony, Darren noticed the beautiful patterns on the walls, like flowing rivers made of glowing stone. Hundreds of Valorians filled the hall. Their crystal-like skin shined under the lights, making the room look like a galaxy of stars. Darren stood beside Saralith as the ceremony began. She spoke to the crowd about unity and cooperation, but as she talked, he saw tense faces in the audience. Something was not right. Some Valorians whispered loudly, others folded their arms, and one group near the back did not applaud at all. Darren turned slightly to look at Saralith. She continued her speech calmly, but he saw a shadow of worry in her eyes. Suddenly, one of the rival nobles stepped forward. His voice was loud and sharp. "Queen Saralith, how can you speak of strength while you stand alone? Our tradition says a ruler must have a chosen partner. Without one, your rule is unstable." Many in the crowd murmured in agreement. Others frowned at the disrespect. Darren felt the tension in the air tighten like a rope about to snap. Another noble shouted, "The throne cannot be steady if the queen is alone. Without a partner, she shows weakness." The hall grew louder. Saralith remained calm, but her eyes narrowed. Her advisors looked nervous. Darren understood the problem. In Valorian culture, choosing a partner meant showing strength, unity, and stability. Without that, powerful families could challenge the throne. Saralith raised her hand to silence the hall, but the whispering did not stop completely. She turned her head slightly and looked at Darren. Her expression changed. Something between a decision and a silent plea formed in her eyes. She slowly reached into the small crystal box carried by one of her attendants. Inside was a glowing ring, simple but elegant. The light from it softly moved like liquid gold. She stepped close to Darren and said very quietly, so only he could hear, "Put the ring on and tell everyone we're married, human." Darren's heart nearly stopped. He stared at her, shocked. Married? They barely knew each other. He had only seen her for a few minutes. He opened his mouth, then closed it again. His mind raced. This was not a simple request. This was a powerful political action. If he agreed, he would become part of Valorian politics. If he refused, she could lose control of the room, and maybe her throne. Darren looked at the angry nobles. He looked at the queen's calm but serious face. He realized the truth. She was asking for help, not as a queen, but as someone cornered by her own people. He took a breath. Humans were known for courage, but this felt too big. Still, something inside him told him he could not let her face this alone. He nodded once. Sarilith gently placed the ring in his hand. It felt warm, almost alive. She stepped back, giving him space. Darren walked forward, heart pounding, and lifted his hand high. The hall went silent again. Every Valorian watched him. "I accept the ring," he said loudly, his voice steady even though his legs felt weak. "And I stand with Queen Sarilith." A wave of gasps filled the hall. Some were shocked, others confused, and a few even angry. A human accepting the queen's ring was something no one expected. Sarilith moved beside him and placed her hand gently on his arm. "This human has shown trust in me, and I trust him. From this moment, he stands at my side." The room shook with noise. Some cheered, believing this bold action showed strength. Others whispered in disbelief. A few nobles looked furious. For a moment, Darren feared they would reject him completely. But then, slowly, the crowd began to calm. The queen's authority was too strong to challenge openly. The ceremony ended, but the tension in the air stayed. As guards escorted them to a quieter chamber, Darren finally let out the breath he had been holding. He looked at the ring glowing softly on his finger. He barely understood its meaning, but it had changed everything. Sarilith turned to him. Her expression was softer now, almost gentle. "I am sorry this was sudden, but there was no other way. Without a partner, the nobles would try to remove me." Darren gave a small smile, even though his heart was still racing. "It's all right. I saw you were in trouble. I couldn't just stand there." She studied him closely, as if trying to understand how someone so ordinary-looking could make such a bold choice. "You surprised me, Darren Holt. Many Valorians would hesitate before taking such a step, but you did not." "I just wanted to help," he said quietly. Sarilith sat on a crystal seat and sighed softly. "You do not understand how big this is. Wearing that ring means the court will treat you as my chosen partner. Some will accept it, some will not. You may face danger." Darren swallowed. "I thought so. I can handle it." Her eyes softened even more. "Humans are different. You act with heart, not with fear. That may be why I chose you in that moment." Darren stood still, unsure what to say. He had never imagined anyone, especially a queen from another world, would speak to him like that. But before he could answer, a guard rushed in. "Your Majesty, we detected unusual movement in the East Wing. Some nobles are gathering. They seem angry about the announcement." Sarilith stood instantly. Her calm expression turned sharp. "They will not accept this easily," she said to Darren. "They may try to test you, or remove you." Darren felt a chill, but he nodded. "What do you want me to do?" "Stay close," she said. "If you are separated from me, they may use that moment against us." They began walking through the long crystal hallway. The walls glowed softly, but the air felt colder now. The palace that once looked beautiful now seemed full of hidden dangers. As they moved, Sarilith spoke without looking at him. "The union ring you wear is more than decoration. It connects your presence to my status. As long as you are beside me, my rule remains steady. That means, if I leave your side, everything breaks?" "Yes. And the nobles know this." Darren nodded again. The situation was far more serious than he had understood. This was not just a symbolic gesture, it was the pillar holding the Queen's authority in place. As they walked, two advisors stopped them. One of them, an older Valorian with deep blue crystal skin, looked at Darren with disapproval. "Your Majesty," the advisor said, "a human cannot understand our traditions. This choice may weaken you more than strengthen you." Sarilith stepped forward. Her voice was calm but firm. "My choice is made. The matter is closed." But the advisor did not step aside. His eyes narrowed at Darren. "Human, do you even know what the ring means to us?" Darren answered honestly, "Not fully, but I know the Queen needed help. So I helped." The advisor looked surprised by the simplicity of the answer. Some guards behind him murmured softly. Sarilith seemed almost amused by Darren's honesty. Finally, the advisors stepped aside, but their expressions warned Darren that they would be watching him closely. As they reached the royal chambers, Sarilith stopped and turned to him. "Rest for now. There will be more challenges tomorrow, but today you stood with me when others doubted me. For that, I am grateful." Darren nodded and touched the glowing ring again. "I'll stay close, I promise." Sarilith gave a small, warm smile. "Good, because everything has changed now." As Darren entered the room given to him, he looked out the tall window at the glowing city. He still felt confused, overwhelmed, and unsure of his future. But he also felt something else, a strange, new sense of purpose. A few hours ago, he was just a simple human engineer. Now he was standing beside an alien queen, and the entire empire was watching. Darren did not sleep much that night. The glowing city outside his window kept reminding him that he was no longer in a normal situation. Every time he looked down at the ring on his finger, he felt the same mix of fear and responsibility. That single moment in the throne room had changed the course of his life. He was now connected to a queen and an entire empire that did not fully trust him. Early in the morning, soft chimes echoed through the palace halls to mark the new day. Darren stepped out of his room and found two Valorian guards waiting for him. They were tall, calm, and almost completely silent. When he tried to talk to them, they only bowed slightly and motioned for him to follow. He had no idea where he was being taken, but he trusted that the Queen had arranged it. The halls were quiet. Only the soft glow of crystal walls lit the way. When the guards opened the large doors to the private royal chamber, Darren stepped inside and saw Queen Sarilith standing near a large circular window. Morning light touched her crystal skin, making her look like she was carved from pure sunlight. She turned toward him with a calm expression. "You rested well, I hope," she said gently. Darren gave a small, tired smile. "A little. Still getting used to everything." Sarilith nodded as if she understood completely. "I expected that. A sudden roll like this can shake even the strongest mind." He stepped closer. "What happens now? I know yesterday created a lot of tension." "It did," she answered. "Some of the nobles accepted the announcement, but many did not. They are not ready to trust a human, and they will try to find weakness anywhere they can." Darren felt the weight of those words. "I didn't mean to cause trouble. I only wanted to help you." Sarilith walked closer, her expression softening. "You did help me. Your courage changed the situation. Without you, the throne would have been challenged immediately. Now I have time to secure peace." She paused. "But this is not only about me anymore. You are part of it now." Before Darren could respond, another guard entered and bowed. "Your Majesty, the council meeting begins soon. They are expecting you." Sarilith nodded. "We will be there shortly." The guard left, and she turned to Darren again. "You must come with me." "Me? To the council meeting?" "Yes. You are my chosen partner now. If you are not at my side, some will claim the union is false. That would weaken my standing." Darren took a deep breath. "All right, I'll stay with you." Sarilith gave a small smile. "Good. Stay close. Speak honestly when you must, and trust your instincts. Humans have a natural strength in difficult moments." They walked together through the palace until they reached the council chamber. The room was shaped like a wide circle, with tall seats arranged around a glowing center. Dozens of Valorian leaders were already waiting. Some looked curious, others clearly unhappy. When Darren entered with the queen, every pair of crystal eyes turned toward him. The room fell completely silent. Sarilith walked straight to her seat and sat with calm confidence. Darren stood beside her, trying not to look nervous. A few advisors whispered to one another, their eyes focused only on him. An older council member finally stood. His voice was deep and serious. "Your Majesty, we must address the matter of your chosen partner. A human is not part of our traditions. How can the Empire accept this?" Sarilith's gaze sharpened. "The choice is mine, and the decision stands." Another noble rose quickly. "But does he even understand our customs? How can a human strengthen the throne when he does not know our ways?" Darren felt heat rise in his chest. He knew they were not truly asking questions. They were trying to break his confidence. Sarilith opened her mouth to answer, but Darren stepped forward first. "I understand that your traditions are important," he said clearly. "I may not know everything yet, but I'm learning, and I'm here because the Queen trusts me. I won't let her down." The nobles exchanged surprised looks. They had not expected him to speak boldly. Some looked annoyed, others looked thoughtful. Sarilith watched him with calm approval. Another council member spoke with a harsh tone. "Trust? How can trust be formed in a single day?" Darren replied, "Sometimes it doesn't take long to see when someone needs help. I saw the Queen being pressured yesterday. I didn't think. I acted. Maybe that's strange to you, but that's how humans are. We act when something feels wrong." Soft murmurs spread through the chamber. Few Valorians understood human behavior, and his honest explanation left them unsure of how to argue further. Sarilith then stood slowly, and the room grew silent again. "The union ring is a sacred symbol. I gave it to him. He accepted it, and he has stood beside me without fear. That is all you need to know." The meeting continued with long debates about laws, trade, and territorial matters. Darren understood very little, but he stayed alert, watching every reaction around the room. Many leaders looked at him repeatedly, analyzing, judging, trying to understand him. When the meeting ended, Sarilith led him out of the chamber. As the doors closed behind them, she let out a long, quiet breath. "You handled yourself well," she said. "I just told the truth," Darren replied. "And that is why it worked," she said softly. "Valorians often hide emotions, but you spoke honestly. It unsettled them. They did not know how to respond." They walked through quieter halls until they reached a wide balcony overlooking the city. The view was breathtaking. Silver rivers, floating platforms, tall towers glowing under the twin suns. Darren rested his hands on the railing, trying to understand how he had ended up in a place like this. Sarilith stood beside him in silence for a moment. Then she said, "You may not realize it, but today you changed many opinions. Some nobles will still oppose you, but others now see you as someone with courage, not a simple outsider." Darren looked at her. "I didn't expect any of this, but I'm glad I could help you." Her amber eyes warmed. "Your presence gives me strength. I have faced threats before, but facing them alone takes a heavy toll. With you here, I feel steadier." Darren felt something shift gently inside him. He had never expected a queen, especially one from another species, to speak so openly to him. It felt strange, but comforting. Their quiet moment ended when a guard rushed in urgently. Your Majesty, there is movement in the East Tower. We suspect hostile activity. Sarilith's expression hardened instantly. Show us. They followed the guard through the palace until they reached a narrow hallway near the east wing. 2 royal guards were already there, examining damaged wall panels. Darren noticed burn marks on the crystal surface. What happened? Sarilith asked. A device exploded here, one guard said. No one was hurt, but the explosion was meant to cause panic. Darren crouched down to examine the marks more closely. This doesn't look like a normal device. Someone wanted you to think the palace isn't safe. Sarilith nodded. A warning. Darren looked up at her. Then they're trying to push you into making a mistake. She met his eyes. They want me to lose control. If I panic, they will claim I am unfit to rule. Darren stood. Then don't let them win. I'm with you. The Queen studied him for a moment, then nodded with quiet confidence. We move carefully, but we do not show fear. For the rest of the day, security tightened around the palace. Sarilith and Darren stayed close together. Everywhere they went, guards watched carefully. Darren noticed more suspicious faces in the halls, more whispers in the shadows. The palace that once felt alive now felt tense. That evening, another council gathering was held, a smaller one meant for trusted leaders only. But as Sarilith and Darren entered the room, a group of nobles suddenly rose from their seats. Their expressions were cold. One of them spoke sharply. Your Majesty, we demand proof that this human is truly your partner. Anyone can wear a ring. Darren felt his heartbeat quicken. He did not know what proof they wanted. He glanced at Sarilith, unsure if he should say something. Sarilith stepped forward with controlled strength. My word is proof enough. But the noble shook his head. Not for us. If your union is real, then stand with him in a declaration of unity. Together. Sarilith looked at Darren. Her eyes asked silently if he was ready. Darren took a small step forward. He did not know their traditions, but he trusted her. She extended her hand. He placed his hand in hers. The nobles watched closely. Sarilith spoke first. I stand with Darren Holt. My choice is true. Darren took a breath. And I stand with Queen Sarilith. I will not leave her side. A soft glow spread from the union ring, flowing gently around both their hands. Some nobles gasped. The glow was not something Darren knew about. It was a natural response of the ring to shared truth. One noble stepped back, shocked. The ring accepted the declaration. Another whispered, Then the union is real. The tension in the room slowly melted. A few nobles bowed. Others lowered their heads in silent acceptance. Not everyone was convinced, but the majority could no longer deny the bond. As Sarilith and Darren left the room, the Queen released a slow breath. You did well. Darren looked at the fading glow around his hand. I didn't know it would do that. Neither did they, she said with a small smile. That is why it worked. They walked toward the royal gardens, where glowing plants lit the night like stars on the ground. The air was calmer here. The world felt softer, gentler. Sarilith stopped near a tall tree with silver leaves. Darren, she said quietly, when I asked you to put on the ring, it was only to protect the throne. But today, something changed. Darren looked at her, surprised. What do you mean? You did not stand with me because you were forced to. You stood with me because you chose to. That means more than you know. Darren felt warmth rise in his chest. I meant it. I won't walk away from you. She stepped closer, her expression gentle but sincere. Then hear me clearly. You are not just a symbol now. You are important to me, as a leader and as someone I trust. Darren felt her words settle deep inside him. He did not know where this path would lead, but he knew one thing clearly. He wanted to walk it with her. Under the soft glow of the silver leaves, the alien queen and the human stood together, no longer just partners by force, but partners by choice. The Valorian Empire slowly began to accept their bond. And for the first time since his arrival, Darren felt like he truly belonged in this strange, glowing world. The challenges were not over. Many questions remained. But one truth was clear now. The human who once felt ordinary had become someone extraordinary in the eyes of an entire empire. And the queen who once stood alone no longer walked her path without someone beside her. Together they were stronger than anyone had expected.